Good morning, it's still dark. I thought it'd be a good idea to make this Groundhog Day video. We're trying to get through all the animals of the Bible. This is a study on goats. Okay, now my favorite goat story probably belongs in the Day of Atonement readings. But we're going to go through it. Song of Solomon 4:1. Behold, thou art fair, my love. Behold, thou art fair. Thou hast dove's eyes within thy locks. Thy hair is as a flock of goats that appear from Mount Gilead. Exodus 36:14. He made curtains of goat's hair for the tent of the tabernacle. 11 curtains he made. Leviticus 10:16, Moses diligently sought the goat of the sin offering, and behold, it was burnt, and he was pissed. He was angry with Eleazar and Ithamar, the sons of Aaron, which were alive. The word one goat, that phrase is in there 6 times. One goat for a sin offering, 6 times. Numbers 28, 29. Female goat, that's also in here in Leviticus 4. See how much of it we can read. When the leaders sin, doing unintentionally any one of the things by the commandments of the Lord his God ought not to be done, and he realizes his guilt, or the sin which he has committed is made known to him, he shall bring as his offering a goat, a male without blemish, and shall lay his hands on the head of the goat and kill it in the place where they kill. The burnt offering before the Lord is the sin offering. Okay, that was Leviticus 4:24, kill it in the place where they kill. 25, then the priest shall take some of the blood of the offering with his finger and put it on the horns of the altar of burnt offering and pour out the rest of the blood on the base of the altar of the burnt offering, and all its fat he shall burn on the altar like the fat of the sacrifice of the peace offering, and so the priest shall make atonement for his sin and shall be forgiven. And if any one of the common people sins unintentionally in doing any one of the things by the Lord's commandments that ought not to be done, and he realizes his guilt, or the sin which he's committed is made known to him, he shall bring for his offering a goat, a female, without blemish, for his sin which he has committed, and he shall lay his hands on the head of the sin offering and kill the sin offering in the place of the burnt offerings, and the priest shall take some of its blood with the finger and put it on the horns of the altar. Okay. Scapegoat is in there 3 times, but we're going to come back to that. She-goat is in there 5 times. She-goats. Genesis 30, this is probably the story about Jacob and Laban. He removed that day all the goats that were ring-streaked and spotted, and all the goats, and all the she-goats that were speckled and spotted, and every one that had some white in it, and all the brown among the sheep, and he gave them into the hands of his sons. Proverbs 27:26, the lambs are for thy clothing, and the goats are the price of the field. Proverbs 6:5, deliver thyself as a roe from the hand of a hunter, and as a bird from the hand of a fowler. I think another one says snare. I was miraculously delivered from a trap house of horror. Okay, goat itself is in there 20 times. Psalms 104:18, the high hills are a refuge for the wild goats, and the rocks for the coonies. Proverbs 30:6, these coonies are a feeble folk, yet they make their houses in the rocks. Leviticus 16, it's going to be a long story, the Day of Atonement reading. When the death of Aaron's two sons, who died when they encroached the Lord's presence, the Lord spoke to Moses and said to him, tell your brother Aaron that he is not to come whenever he pleases into the inner sanctuary, inside the veil, in front of the cover of the ark, unless he die. For I reveal myself in a cloud above the ark's cover. Just a side note, we're also going to be studying weather and how clouds are like vehicles, transportation devices. Anyway, we're on Leviticus 16:3. Only in this way may Aaron enter into the sanctuary. He shall bring a bull of the herd for a purification offering and a ram for a burnt offering, and he shall wear the sacred linen tunic with the linen pants underneath, and gird himself with the linen sash, and put on the linen turban. Since these vestments are sacred, he shall not put them on until he has first bathed his body in water. From the Israelite community he shall receive 2 male goats for a purification offering, and a ram for a burnt offering. Aaron shall take the bull, his purification offering, to make atonement for himself and for his household. Taking the 2 male goats, sets them before the Lord at the entrance of the tent meeting, and he shall cast lots to determine which one is for the Lord and which is for Azazel. Azazel. I don't know what that is. That's some sort of something, right? There's a footnote, but we'll get to the bottom. Anyway, the goat that is determined by lot to be for the Lord, Aaron shall present and offer up as a purification offering. But the goat determined by the lot for Azazel, he shall place before the Lord alive, so that with it he may make atonement by sending it off to Azazel in the desert. Thus shall Aaron offer his bull for the purification offering to make atonement for himself and his family. And when he has slaughtered it, he shall take a censer full of glowing embers from the altar before the Lord, as well as a double handful of finely ground fragrant incense, and bring them inside the veil before the Lord. He shall put the incense on the fire, so that the cloud of incense may shield the cover that is over the covenant, or else he will die. Taking some of the bull's blood, sprinkle it with his finger on the front of the ark's cover, and likewise sprinkle some of the blood with his finger 7 times. So it's a very bloody thing. I think it's Hebrews that nothing is cleansed without blood. And you could stop killing each other because Jesus' blood has already been shed for whatever the fuck they did, okay? Anyway, he shall slaughter the goat of the people's purification offering and bring the blood inside the veil, and he shall do with it as he did with the bull's blood, sprinkling this blood all over the ark's cover and in front of it. Thus he shall purge the inner sanctuary and of all the Israelites' impurities and trespasses, including all their sins. And he shall do the same for the tent of meeting, which is set up among them in the midst of their uncleanness. No one else may be in the tent of the meeting from the time he enters the sanctuary to make atonement until he departs. And when he has made atonement for himself and his household, as well as the whole assembly of the Israelites, he shall come out of the altar before the Lord and purge it also, and take some of the bull's and goat's blood. He shall put it on the horn around the altar with his finger and sprinkle some more blood 7 times, purifying it, sanctifying it from the impurities of the Israelites. When he has finished purging the inner sanctuary, the tent of meeting, and the altar, Aaron shall bring forward the live goat, and lay both hands on its head, and confess over it all the iniquities of the Israelites and the trespasses, including all their sins. And so he puts them on the goat's head. He shall then have it led out into the wilderness by an attendant, and the goat will carry off all their iniquities to an isolated region. When the goat is dispatched into the wilderness, Aaron shall go into the tent of meeting and strip off the linen vestments that he had put on when he entered the sanctuary and leave them in the tent. Bathe his water in the sacred place, put on his regular clothes, come out, and offer his own and the people's burnt offerings in atonement for himself and for the people, and also burn the fat of the purification offering on the altar. And that man who led the goat away for Azazel, when he comes back, he needs to wash his garments and bathe his body in the water, and only then may he enter into the camp. The bull and the goat of the purification offering, whose blood was brought to make an atonement in the inner sanctuary, shall be taken outside the camp, where their hides and flesh and dung shall be burned in the fire. And that guy has got to clean himself too. Proverbs 30:31, a greyhound and a he-goat also, and a king against whom there's no rising up. Ezekiel 43:25, for 7 days thou shalt prepare every day a goat for a sin offering. Daniel 8, I'm not going to read it all, but that is a vision about a goat. Daniel 8:5, it starts out with, considering, behold, a he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and he touched not the ground. Okay, so this is like a hovering goat, a flying goat, this goat coming from the west, not touching the ground. And he had a notable horn between his eyes. Daniel 8:8, the he-goat waxed very great, strong, great horn was broken. And it came up 4 notable ones towards the 4 winds of heaven. And then Daniel 8:21 also talks about the rough goat being the king of Grecia. And the great horn between his eyes is the first king.